Hello students, in my last video I completed the second P of 4 marketing mix, 4 elements of marketing mix, that is price, in which we studied meaning of price as well as factors affecting price determination. The factors were product cost, in that we included meaning of product cost as well as types of cost, that is fixed, variable and semi variable. We studied utility and demand, also extent of competition that can influence the price determination, as well as government and legal regulations. We also studied how a marketer can charge a little higher price on the basis of various marketing methods used. Pricing objectives also play an important role in price decision. The price objectives can be, say, to obtain bigger market share in the market. So here the price would be set at the lower levels. Survive in a competitive market. Here also the objective is to survive in the market. So the marketer or the seller may give a lot of discounts and other schemes. The third is attaining product quality leadership. Here, as the firm wishes to produce high quality products and be leader in that category of industry, it may say invest a higher amount on research and development, and so it has to fix high price to recover that additional cost incurred. Another point is there are two things in price setting decision, that if a firm wants to increase the profit in the short run, it will fix the higher price, but if it wants to survive in the long run and maximize the profits in that plan, it may fix the lower prices in the beginning and increase the sales volume. Now we would shift to the third P of marketing, that is place or physical distribution. This is very important, as once a manufacturer produces any types of goods or wish to provide any kind of services, he has to set his target market, and to also he has to see that his products are available to different types or different regions, or say a widespread geographical area. So physical distribution is concerned with making the goods and services available at the right place so that people can purchase them. So in order to sell the goods, a manufacturer has to decide on the intermediaries to sell their goods and channels to distribute goods amongst its customers. Say, take a simple example of mineral water bottles, right? So, a manufacturer of that water bottles has to ensure that his bottles are available at every nook and corner of the street whenever customers approach such neighboring shops. So, he'll have to set a network of distributors through which his goods, that is bottled water, can be made available to each and every store in each and every locality. Right? So the consumer products have large number of customers. The consumer products means the products of our daily usage: toothpaste, hair oil, soap, bread, milk, butter, etc. So their customers are widespread, and also these types of consumer goods are needed on recurring basis. So it is not possible for a manufacturer to directly reach out to all its existing and potential customers, because they are scattered around geographical area. So manufacturer uses intermediaries to sell their products and distribute them from the place of production to the place of consumption. So this is briefly a channel of distribution. So if you wish to define it properly, you may say that the channel of distribution is nothing but a set of firms and individuals that take title or assist in transferring the particular goods and services as it moves from the producers to the consumers. Remember, we had studied supply chain in Form 11, that it starts from manufacturer and it ends to consumers. So, any intermediary in between them that may assist in the process of moving the goods or services from producer to the final end user, that is consumer, all those intermediaries and activities are included in physical distribution. So, what are the uses of them? This figure would make it clear. Now see here, two figures are given. In the first one, it's completely a mess. Say a sugar, first ingredient on the left hand side or first basket is a sugar basket. It represents the manufacturer of sugar. Second is bulb. It represents again manufacturer of bulb. In the same way, coffee and ink manufacturers are say given in form of basket here. So sugar manufacturer will have to approach A, B, C, D, all different types of consumers scattered across the geographical area, and so he'll have to put in a lot of efforts, right? Because sugar is to be used by everyone, so it's very difficult to him to reach out to these people. In the same way, bulb, coffee, and ink producers will have to do the same activity, reaching out to individual customers, and this would involve a lot of time, cost, and on the top of it, a more and more investment would be needed. Rather, if we compare this with the second figure, in which we have an intermediary called a retailer. So a retailer would be buying from sugar seller, bulb seller, coffee producer and ink producer. So he will be collecting these items in smaller quantity and distributing them to A, B, C and D, four different types of consumers. So now it is very easy for these four manufacturers because they only have to approach only one entity, that is retailer. And also for consumers it is very easy because they do not have to run to different manufacturers. Rather, they can go to retailer for buying their daily necessities. So how are these intermediaries help us? See the second point here. They establish a network of marketing channels to distribute goods and services. So the channel we'll be studying in the next topic. There can be two types of channels, indirect and direct. Although it is not in the syllabus, we'll just go through it for our understanding purpose. They bring in economy of efforts to cover large geographical area. Economy of efforts is shown here as all the manufacturers in the first figure had to put in a lot of efforts to reach out to different consumers, but in the second one they only have to supply to one person, that is retailer. That it is known as economy of efforts, means a savings in efforts you are going to put forward. Next is they bring in convenience to the customers. Of course, the customers also do not have to run to different manufacturers for buying their necessities. Next, they provide authentic market information because of their direct contact with consumers. So these retailers or these intermediaries like wholesalers and retailers, they have direct contact with customers. So they know it very well what is needed by them, what are their taste and preferences. This information can be given to wholesalers and producers so that they can have an idea of what is trending in the market, and this would guide them to produce goods in accordance, right? Also, these retailers would help to negotiate and store the goods. All the functions of intermediaries would be performed by them so that manufacturers can just concentrate on manufacturing and supplying the goods. So this is intro of a physical distribution, or it is also known as place, that is third P of marketing. Now let us see functions of this distribution channel. It means how these intermediaries, say a wholesaler or a retailer, help in different ways so that it is easy for a manufacturer and a consumer to get and to supply respectively the various types of goods. First is sorting. Now what is a sorting? Middlemen procure variety of goods from different sources. As see, it is shown here, middleman retailer procures sugar, bulb, coffee and ink from different manufacturers, right? And these goods may differ in terms of their quality, nature, size, everything. So what this middleman will do? They will sort them into homogeneous groups on the basis of size or quality. For example, rice. There are numerous types and qualities of rice, right? It may start from parimal, khichdi wala rice. It may go to the basmati rice. So what this wholesaler will do? He will say buy different types of rice, or he may, for example, cashew nuts. He may buy in bulk and then sort them according to their size, the smaller one, the bigger one, the good quality one, the broken pieces one. So this is called sorting of goods, wherein you try to filter the goods on the basis of its size, shape or color or quality. So this sortment is also done by middlemen. so that the retailer or a consumer can get what they exactly want and not the mess of the items. Second is accumulation. Accumulation is nothing but storage of homogeneous goods. Say that continuing that example of cashew nuts, that person, the middleman, not only will have different types of cashews but also a bulk of one type of cashews. Say he has three types of cashew nuts. Now, if you want to buy three of them, he will be making it available to you. So, availability on the large base is also possible because of his storage. So, he won't say that type 1 is also one bag with us. He will say I have 10 bags of type 1, 15 bags of type 2 and 20 bags of type 3. So, this kind of homogeneous accumulation is also done by the middleman, so that he can supply whenever whenever there is a spike in the demand. Next is allocation. The wholesalers, distributors and retailers break the homogeneous stock into smaller and marketable lots. Continuing the same example, you may say that I want type 1 cashew nuts into 1 kg bags, right, or 500 grams bags. So he may pack it accordingly. That is known as allocation, wherein a middleman would allocate the same product into different marketable lots and sell them to different buyers, because those buyers who approach to him might not have the same kind of demands, needs. Somebody might need in 5 kg packing, somebody might need in 100 grams packing, right? So accordingly he would be accumulating and packing the goods to cater to the varied needs of his buyers. Then comes assorting. See, sorting and assorting are different. Sorting means say filtering the goods according to the nature, quality and size. But assorting means, take the example of cricket kit. उसमें क्या क्या होता है? हेलमेट होती है, ग्लव्स होते हैं, बैट होता है, बॉल होते हैं, say socks, shoes, everything. But all these products, say helmet is different, bat is different, gloves are different. All these products come from different manufacturers. So what this middleman would do? He would build assortment, a basket of products for resale. Right? So manufacturers produce product of one product line. Say he will be buying gloves from gloves manufacturer. So that manufacturer would only be giving him gloves. So what about other, say helmet and bat? So this middleman would approach again the helmet manufacturer, bat manufacturer as well as kneecap manufacturer and buy from them. So now he will be packing a kit. Say in a kit he would be putting one pair of gloves, one helmet, one pair of kneecaps, right, that he had brought from different manufacturers. So this middleman would buy products from various manufacturers and then keep making the kits according to the need. That is known as assorting. Say in a restaurant when you go, where you say I need assortment of rotis or assorted basket of rotis. So what they will do? They will give every type of rotis to you, but in a singular quantity. Say one naan and one chapati and one fulka and one kulcha, everything. So in that one basket you will have variety of rotis. In the same way here, assortment is to prepare a kit, to prepare a basket of different items, but that would serve a particular purpose of that customer. Next is product promotion. The manufacturers usually organize advertising and other sales promotion activities, but the channels participate and take forward these activities with the customers. For example, it is the retailers who display and demonstrate the products to end users. They hold contests to run the promotional schemes. So when you are approaching a retailer, he may say that if you are buying this mobile, you are going to get this gift hamper, or you will be able to enter this contest which is going to be held on 31st December. So in this way he can help in promoting different types of activities of manufacturers. The next point is negotiation. Of course, the middleman who would buy directly from the manufacturer would try to negotiate with him in terms of price and quantity of the goods, and then these benefits are passed on to the next intermediary. It can be a retailer or a customer, so that the intermediate, say wholesaler, can increase the sales and also customer base, because since he is buying in bulk, he would insist that he gets the lower prices, lower costing. Next is risk taking. In the process of distribution, the title of goods transfer from manufacturer to the distributor. So, this distributor would assume the risk on account of price and demand fluctuations. So, what if, for example, the goods get spoiled, gets rotten, gets stolen? All this risk would be assumed by the wholesaler who would be buying in bulk, and he would free the manufacturer from this big headache, right? So any other kind of damage, say like demand fluctuations, would be borne by the intermediaries. In this way, they are trying to keep balance between what they want to supply to the retailers or customers and what they buy from the manufacturers. So this is importance, or you can say even functions of distribution channels, like sorting, accumulation, allocation, assorting. It is not asserting, it is assorting, product promotion, negotiation, and risk taking. This is asked not so frequently, but yes, you cannot ignore this part, because next topic, types of channels, is removed from the syllabus, as well as components of physical distribution also removed. So from this third P of marketing, we have very few content remaining. So make sure that you study this well. In my next video, I'll be giving you a brief on types of channels, although it is not in the syllabus, but we have to write this in our project work. So in Viva it can be asked, or also sometimes a few question, it becomes easier to answer some questions if you have sorry, knowledge of what is a types of channels in the marketing process. Thank you. I'll be sending the next video soon.